Powered Up in the Port City. This podcast is intended to advocate, educate, empower, enhance, enlighten, and uplift us all on behalf of our community. Through the guests joining us on this interview-style podcast, we hope the messages shared will cause you to be powered up in the Port City too. Today, we're excited to have joining us Tiffany Lockette. And our topic today is about building our economic wealth. Thank you for joining us, Tiffany. We're excited to have you share some of your expertise about the dollar bill as we go forward. I
Thank you for
do
the
know
invitation.
already that you are a product of our Mobile County Public School system. I remember the days seeing you as a cheerleader out there in front of the football team, and then the non-traditional education, if you will, through Girl Scouts. So we have a history that dates back quite a few years. But tell us about your educational background beyond high school.
So, my educational background started in 1997. I attended Tuskegee University and I was a biology major, believe it or not. And I was the kid, though, that grew up numbers. I was always a numbers girl. My dad bought me a real cash register. I would cut coupons out of the magazines and newspapers and add just, do a 10 key and add things up. So the business side of me of numbers was always there. But my dream goal was to become a pediatrician. And so after Tuskegee University, I moved to Michigan, to help out with family. I relocated from the Mobile area and relocated into Detroit. And so in Detroit, I was able to go to Central Michigan University. I obtained my degree in a bachelor's of administration with a concentration in community development. And then I later achieved my master's of administration as well in business. So it's just overall how things shifted from childhood to really going back to what I loved and what my niche was, and it was helping people numbers and growing businesses.
Wow, from biology to numbers. How about that? There are not many people that can say they had their own personal cash register. So look at that. Look at that. So hearing you say that helping people and then numbers. So your goal that you are achieving through your professional world is empowering the community to learn about numbers and how we can use numbers for our own personal goals. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you do now in your professional world and how it excites you as you are helping those of us in the community learn about numbers versus, economic wealth.
Right. So I am in management and I provide financial wellness to the community. I've been a manager in banking. This is my 21st year. I started at JP Morgan Chase in Detroit, and they taught me everything that I know from knowing the business, helping the customers, building the relationships, and then also mentorships for other people coming along through banking. And so I moved back home to Mobile, and now I work for Regions Bank. And at
Mhm.
Regions, I provide financial education to commercial partners. I also reach out to branch network, and then also just overall the community in general. So, for example, if any organization would like topics on budgeting, savings, retirement, you name it, anything that can help overall the financial wellness of an individual from age 16 to 90, you name it. We have something out there to support the community. So that is what I'm currently doing now in my profession.
That's very interesting to hear starting as early as age 16, because more and more and more we're hearing the request, if you will, for our high school students and maybe even middle and elementary to be introduced to finance, knowing how to, take a dollar and save it or invest it and make that dollar work for you. So that's great to hear, that you do have something. And of course, that's a wide spectrum from 16 to 90. So we applaud you for that. And if any of our listeners were interested in taking advantage of the programs that you have, is it just a matter of reaching out to you and then you can work with them to make it happen? Give us a couple of tips on how we should go about getting in contact with you to expose our community to what it is that you have to offer.
Yeah, so Regions Bank is in 16 states. Let's remember that. So, to all of our listeners out there, there is someone in the community within your footprint that can deliver that free financial wellness. So, in the Mobile area, yes, of course, you would reach out to me. And we have over 17 branches right here in the Mobile area. All of the managers are trained and developed in providing that education to the community. And so at that point, it would just be, one of us coming out or having a phone conversation and setting up exactly what the need is for that particular audience.
Wonderful. So you can meet us, the audience, meet us, the community, wherever we are. And then from that point, help us to establish, like you said, a footprint of where it is we want to go with our economic wealth.
Correct. We come to you. I've even conducted board meetings within, my branch as well. So it's pretty much flexible.
Okay.
We go where the employees are, we go where the students are, and deliver that advice and just really walk through, you know, helping that person, become better in wellness because it's so needed, especially in our younger community within the youth. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's needed and what's missing.
Great, great. So taking it on the road, taking it to wherever the need is, getting out into the community and sharing the expertise. Not to reveal the entire process, but just tell us a little bit about step one, we would need to do this. Step two, we need to do this. Step three, and kind of just give us a brief overview of what we would be looking at when we're working with you or someone with your company, one-on-one.
Yes. So first, you would just reach out to me directly, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be via email or my cell phone, which I can provide. And
Okay.
then at that point, I would. It's called a decision maker review. So I have a list of resources out there that regions offer. This program is called Next Step, and so within this financial wellness program, there are over 16 topics that the decision maker at that point can choose from. So
Okay.
most of the decision makers choose their own schedule, whether it's monthly, quarterly, weekly, every pay period. When the students are discussing a particular topic, it's all up to the decision maker when they would want us to present.
So you
At that
customize it
point, the
based on what,
scheduling takes place.
okay,
So
so you
now that you have your
customize it.
Yes, it's a customized, tailored, personalized plan for the company, decision maker, and employee or audience.
Okay, wonderful. So that's great because then that lets us know that it is not just a one size fits all, because we are all very unique individuals and what I would need might not necessarily be what the next person would need. So I certainly appreciate the fact that, and I like that title, the decision maker. That's where
Yes.
it all starts. And sometimes we don't even know what that decision is that we need to make. So having someone like you with that area of expertise to just talk it through, then we can make an informed decision about what it is we need and want to do as we go forward. I want to go back for just a minute and talk about you leaving the South, going all the way to the North. So you left the heat and humidity and went to the cold and the snow. Talk about that experience for you. And I understand, family is what kind of led you to make that decision. That was a decision maker for you in those early days. But talk a little bit about that experience that you went through, just acclimating yourself from being in the heat and the humidity to the cold and the snow.
Yeah, so I'm an only child, and leaving the South, leaving my mama was very, very hard. But it was a decision that I needed to make at that time. I wanted a change, and I wasn't afraid of it. I was 21,
Mm-hmm.
and family was there. Half of my mom's siblings are there, and my cousin got married down here, and I literally packed up my suitcase and said, "I'm moving to Detroit with you." When she came back from her honeymoon. And that was in September 2002. And I was hired on at Bank One in March 2003, which later was acquired by JP Morgan Chase.
Okay.
And that company taught me everything that I know. But just to let you know, I have never had eczema until I moved up there. I have never learned to, brush off a car with the ice scraper. All of that was new for me. So this Southern girl came home. This
Enough
Southern
of
girl
that, huh?
was
Yeah.
enough, but it took 18 years to come home. But
Oh,
I meant
wow.
it. I came home. I was coming.
So how does that saying go? Been there, done that, got that
Been
t-shirt?
there, done that, got a t-shirt.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
It's
people
in the
say, "Will
memory,
you ever
it's in the
go
memory
back?"
zone now.
People say, "Will you ever go back?" I was like, "I'll visit, but no, I don't want to live there."
Oh,
But
wow.
I'm so grateful. Had I not made that opportunity, I just don't know where. You look back on your life and say, "Wow, I've been afforded so many opportunities, so
Mm-hmm.
many mentors." Like I was pretty much there by myself in a company at 21, 22 years old, and had some great people that said, "Hey, you're going to be a manager. You're going to run this bank."
Mm-hmm.
And for them to invest that time and development and education into me, I'm forever grateful. So I always pass it back wherever I am to make
Mm-hmm.
sure that people get those same mentorships that I had.
Yeah. So the great thing about it is, and it's very pleasing to my ears to hear you say, you were not afraid. You had nothing to lose. You had to at least try it. So you were a brave 21, 22-year old, and look at you today. So it's great to hear you say just how much you appreciate the fact that you did take that opportunity. And I know my friend was probably really, really scared and really, really afraid for you. And her comfort zone, I know, was the fact that you did have family there. If you needed
Right.
anything, she knew
And
that they were right there.
I would come home 3 times a year, and my mom cried every single time it was time for me to board the plane. And she did that for 18 years. 18 years.
I can truly see that happening. Yes, I
Yeah.
can truly see that happening. Yeah. But she
Mhm.
laid a great foundation for you. She is my absolute, to this day, favorite kindergarten teacher in all the world. So she laid a very strong foundation for you. And, when our children do what we have trained them to do, we're very proud and our shoulders go up high, but the tears continue to flow. The tears continue to flow. Well, I'm excited to hear this. Tell us a little bit more about what you would like to see the communities take advantage of as we uplift our communities to learn more and more about, economic wealth. What is it
I
that we can do to encourage them, like you, to be brave enough to take that first step and make that decision? What can we do to continue to encourage our communities to be uplifted and be empowered, through taking that first step?
So the first thing that I would say to empower others within the community, I always tell my management managers, decision makers, those that are in key positions to influence, right? I always
Mhm.
encourage them to just listen first.
Okay.
Listen to what your people are saying, what they are discussing. You can find a lot about through just, social conversations. Um, for your typical employer. I always ask, when you pass out your paychecks or you're distributing your direct deposit, what do you kind of hear in the break room? What are the employees talking about? So oftentimes they don't even, are not even in tune with that. So I encourage them to get to know those individuals and make sure they provide the guidance, and just reach out. Most time, a lot of us, and to be honest, are saving for retirement, but are living from paycheck to paycheck. So we always say, hey, pay yourself first, be the influence, and making sure that we have just the simple things that people forget about, becoming disciplined, making sure that taking baby steps. If you can save $50 a week, that's okay. But everyone can't save $500 every pay period. But if
Mm-hmm.
you pay yourself first, that you can. That's from the decision maker aspect. But from an individual or personal aspect, I have always just never been afraid to be my own true person. I've
Mm-hmm.
always been the person to stand in my own, you know, sense of being genuine, and all never being a follower, but always being the leader and standing out. Making sure that I wanted to, when I left Detroit, when I left Alabama, I wanted my mama to be proud of me, and I had a
Mm-hmm.
point to prove, right? So I was the girl from Alabama that they used to say in Michigan, there's Bama girl, there's Bama diva. That's what they call me. There she is again. But I wanted to be successful. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
have that drive, but that drive comes from where you're from, and never
Mm-hmm.
forgetting who put, things in place for you to get there. And I remain humble at all times about that, because I've been there, and so I now, when I see individuals come into my branch, and I'm hiring and recruiting and retaining that same information that was delivered to me, I make sure I pass it along and say, hey, do we have a development plan in place? What do you want to do in the next 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
And that teller that came in may just want to be a teller, or they may want to be a manager. And I
Mm-hmm.
share my testimony. Someone told me I was in your shoes in 2002, and someone told me I was going to have the keys to a $54 million branch. And I got it at 24. So
Yeah.
I share my testimony. I share it through the goodness of what God has done to, for my family. And He continues to bless
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm. So that personal encouragement, and like you said, sharing your testimony, and letting people know where you started from and your goal, your end goal. Like you said, not only to make your mom proud, but the things that you did made you proud, which you knew then would make her proud as well. This has been very exciting to hear such a young person be so passionate about what it is. And I think it's always good to recognize that sometimes we do have a plan. Like you said, you started off at Tuskegee as a biology major, but God's plan is always the right plan. And when we allow Him to order our steps and we follow the journey He puts before us, there's nothing at the end but success. So I applaud you for, opening yourself up to receiving His guidance and then following that guidance. So if I were to call you today and say, Tiffany, can I please have some time with you? I want to come in so you can help me learn about how to make the money that I make work for me. I'm looking at, give me just a rough idea. Am I looking at maybe 30 minutes or so? Am I looking at an hour? I know that it will all depend on, what my questions are, because like you said already, it's customized, but just a general idea. Are we going to sit down for like an hour or so and get started, knowing that that's just the first step?
So, an individualized personal plan at at Regions is called the Green Print. And
The
so,
green
in this
print. Okay.
Green Print, it's the blueprint to your financial success. So, we walk the client through from start to finish. What are your goals? It's an open-ended, interactive conversation. Tell me about your goals in the next 1 to 2 years. So those are your short-term goals. And then tell me about your long-term goals. So that would be retirement. That may be building a second home. That may be, saving for your college fund for your children. And then at that point, we help the client self-discover where they are, right? Help them self-discover and then give them the tools and guidance that they need to get there. So over a course of time, Regions, the Next Step program has podcasts like we're on now. We have calculator tools. The online service site also was excellent. So many different articles, and you name it. It's all out there on the Next Step site. It's regions.com/next step. And so at that point, after the personalized plan is complete, which takes about somewhat 15 to 20 minutes, and that depends on the client or the decision maker. And at that point, I would then provide you with a recommendation. So you told me you want to purchase a car in the next 6 months. Let's look at your savings goal of helping you to obtain your down payment, and then revisiting coming in to see us to apply for an auto loan or a vehicle loan. We also have clients that are, ready to buy a car now and say, "Hey, I'm ready to, proceed with the application." And once that is done, before application, rates are provided of course, of what's going on in the economy, so that they know how much they're going to pay over time. If approved at that point, the client will know their term, rate, conditions, everything before leaving the branch or within the next 48 hours. So it's all about you when you sit down with the Regions banker. When you come to me, it's all about your wealth, your success. How do we get you there? And then the best thing about it, I always ask for, okay, now that I've helped you, who else in your family or in your network can I lend this same advice? So that is branching out to the community, what we discussed a little bit earlier, but we have to repeatedly give that back, continue to give back to who we come in contact with, because I'm learning it's a very small world. And if we can just make a change and influence one person and then ask them for a referral by reaching out,
Yes.
you'll be surprised of who you're impacting. And it only takes one person. So that would be how the green print or personalized plan would be created with us at the bank.
Right. That's a magical word that you just used, referrals. And there
Yes.
is no better system of referrals other than the good old word of mouth. So when you've given me, that customer service, that great customer service, as I'm sitting right before you, and my eyes have, become wide open because I've learned something new. And sometimes it's not anything that's just earth shattering, it's just things that I just never thought about. And you've caused me to, open my brain cells and consider through the various programs that you've introduced me to. So then I'm excited when I leave you. So it's easy for me to go tell my sister or my brother or my niece or my nephew or my cousins or whomever, how excited I am about what I just learned. So then I want to say, you need to go see Miss Tiffany because, man, let me tell you what she did for me. So referrals is a great source, and it is one of those influencers, and it is one of those ways that we can empower others. Let's talk for just a few minutes about um, entrepreneurship. And sometimes, we have the dream that we want to own our own company, or, we have the talent to do this, that, or the other. But I'm not a Tiffany who was brave to leave the South and go North. I know that I'm great at this, but I'm afraid. Talk about how you can encourage those with that entrepreneurship spirit, but they're just afraid to step out.
So every client that I come in contact with does something on the side. We are a group of talented individuals. I'm learning from,
Yes.
Food trucks too, you name it, trucking companies. I always, when I sit down with my clients, ask, "Tell me about your business," or "What do you do on the side?" And then most
Uh-huh.
of them will say, "Hey, I a hairstylist. I do lawn care." It's amazing what you hear just by asking the question. Now that I
Uh-huh.
have that information, well, tell me about your business account, or tell me about how you started your business. And oftentimes, a lot of people don't have the tools to get set up. So I will walk my clients through that process of how to obtain a tax ID. What's the difference between an LLC, sole proprietorship, corporation, partnership, the different types of businesses. And then, hey, what would you name your business if you were to start it today? I know you cut, lawn on Saturdays for six, residents. What would you call it? And so
Uh-huh.
we have these conversations just to get them thinking. My philosophy is, when you leave my desk, you will have what you mentioned earlier, magic. What magic did I bring to that client?
Uh-huh.
Right? What did they leave there with that they didn't come in there with before? So it's always a nugget. And business owners are so passionate about what they do,
Mm-hmm.
especially those, yes, that do business on the side, but those that have been established for years and are performing well and are driving revenue and being an influence in our market. Those are the clients that need help as well. So I walk them through the business green print, help them with cash flow management so that they understand that they can run more efficiently, that the cash, may be a little bit slow coming in. How do we speed that process up for them? So
Mm-hmm.
we offer merchant referrals, and we offer wires, and just different ways to help a client move money and also make money. And businesses are very particular about having working capital. What's my backup if something were to happen? What am I going to tap into? And if they don't want to use their personal reserves. So we
Mm-hmm.
also plan a lot around, lending, talking about revolving lines of credit, how to purchase a commercial real estate property, and what are the steps to get there. So business is a wide array of things to discuss. I love taking the simple business owner, that sole proprietor that started out, and you see him now in the next 10 years. Oh, wow, he's got a truck riding down on airport, right? He's got six employees. And like, it is so empowering to see that. And I know
Uh-huh.
clients that have done it,
Uh-huh.
and it all started sometimes with a conversation with the banker. What do you do on the side?
Mm-hmm. Mm. I like that. What do you do on the side? And I'm like you, I have been just flabbergasted to hear about some of these, side hustles, if you will, and then to see someone take that and turn it into a very viable, profession. I'm
Mhm.
like you, I get excited when I see where they started from and see where they're headed. And they're proud like you are. And so then they are hungry to do more and more because success is at the tail end of their goal that they have before us. I've learned a lot just talking with you myself. So there are a lot of people I
Good.
know that we were afraid to step out with that business on the side to go get, that LLC. Those are three letters that some people gravitate to very, very quickly, and some people shy away from it because we automatically start to say, "Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that," and we just kind of become complacent. But I can understand how having a conversation with you will help to relieve, some of that stress, and you can make it so doable for the
Mhm.
entrepreneurs that are out there. So those of you that are listening, entrepreneurs, I strongly encourage you to step out on faith and reach out so that you can, like Tiffany said, make that dollar, but make it make more for you. So very quickly, because our time is winding up, tell us one tip that you've already mentioned in a sense about paying ourselves first. Expound on that just a little bit. And you're absolutely correct, where paying myself $5 might be a struggle at first, but somebody else might be able to do 50 or 500. But I think the ultimate goal is to just get started. So give us a little encouragement and a little tip about how we should pay ourselves first.
Right. So with paying yourself first. So when we think about it, when we receive our income every single month, we have the fixed, expenses and then the variable expenses. We have to pay mortgage, we have to pay utilities. But
Unfortunately.
why not pay yourself first? And a lot of people tell me I cannot save. And
Mhm.
we start that plan. We go back to that green print and say, okay, this is your income coming in bi-weekly. These are your bills. This is what you have left. How much can you pay yourself first without access, without touching it? So at that point, the client will then tell us what exactly they can save. And then I put up, what's your goal over the next 1 to 2 years? What do you want this savings account to look like? And if they say 5,000, 10,000, I do some calculations. Okay, if you want to save 5,000 within the next, 12 to 24 months, this is how much you need to put over there. And
Mhm.
then we would set up an automatic savings plan, which every time the direct deposit comes in, something is automatically swept to the savings so you don't even see it.
Mhm.
So, just little things like that make a difference that people forget about. Um, if a checking account is opened, a savings needs to be partnered with it. That
Mhm.
is your everyday account that you use with your debit card to pay bills. And why not have a savings for yourself? So it
Mhm.
always goes back to you. You
Mhm.
have the fixed variable. Yourself should be included in there. So that would be my tip,
Okay.
to make sure that we are doing right by ourselves, to plan for the
Mhm.
unexpected expenses, and then also plan for the future.
Hmm. I remember my brother telling me, if you go ahead and take it out before you ever see it, before you ever get it, you won't miss it. And if you
Right.
start off small and you get used to that, it's easier to increase it. And if you go ahead and pay yourself first, not literally putting the dollars in your physical hand, but like you say, having it automatically, withdrawn and put away in that special place, you don't touch it and you don't miss it because you don't miss what you don't have, and then just continue from there. This has been wonderful. You've shared a lot of information with us, and at the very end, we will publicize your contact information so that our listening audience will know how to reach out to you. But truly, truly, through this conversation, we have educated, and we have empowered and enhanced and enlightened and uplifted us all. So thank you so much for sharing not only your area of expertise, but also sharing your personal testimonies. And that within itself is an encouragement, because the things that you did, because you are a brave soul and because you were not afraid, is a personal encouragement to so many of us as well. So we will continue to think about our little southern girl who left here and went north, and after
Yes.
tired of shoveling snow, decided, home is calling me by my name. Let me go back down south and deal with the heat and humidity. Well, we're glad that you're in our community, and we're glad that you had such an awesome experience, that you can now come back home and share with us all. Thank you again for sharing your time with us. We appreciate you, and we look forward to hearing more about, the major accomplishments that your customers are taking advantage of through all of. I've got 3 full pages of notes, from the green print, and my favorite, I will tell you, is the decision maker. That within itself just resonates with my ears and my heart. So we look forward to hearing
Thank
more
you. I
about what it
appreciate
is
it.
that you have to offer. Thank you for saying yes.
You're
When I
welcome.
sent you the request to join us, we've learned a lot.
I appreciate the invitation.
I'll
Thank you.
let you close us out with one final word. Send us off with a word of encouragement.
Confidence.
Ah,
Have
I like
confidence
that.
with yourself. Have
Okay.
financial
Mhm.
confidence. Have personal confidence in yourself, and then always have spiritual confidence that there's always God who protects us.
I'm adding yet another note, confidence. I really like that. Thank you so much.
You're
Well,
welcome.
audience, that wraps it up for us this particular time. I think we're ending on a high note. Confidence, influence, just knowing who you are and not being afraid to ask questions. So we'll leave you with that thought today. Be confident as you go forward in your day-to-day routines. This is Powered Up in the Port City. Thank you for joining us once again.